for folks who are watching this, considering, hey, should I work with Intentional Product Manager, join Intentional Job Search? Let's begin. Tell us a bit about yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Kyle Grant. I'm a product manager based out of Denver, Colorado. I've been a product manager for about 9 years now. And up until now, I've been working exclusively at startups. For folks who are watching, I didn't have an engineering background, didn't even have a business background. I had a film and teaching background before I got into products. So it was like, I just got a random job at a startup 9 years ago and stuck with it. So yeah, it's a bit about me. I live in Denver with my wife and son. And I'll get into more of that as we get into my motivation and things.
I do like you're stating that up front, because sometimes people have this thing of, you got to be an engineer, you got to have a CS undergrad, you got to be these things to be a product manager. And you see, product managers come from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, having more experience is good, because you have to be able to empathize with people. And so realize that I needed to tap into that a little bit more throughout this program too.
Love it. I'm going to take us back in time. So what was going on in your life before you decided to join Intentional Product Manager?
So career-wise, I was feeling stuck. I had reached a plateau. I had been with my current company for more than 2 years. There wasn't really a career path that I could see for me there. Personally, I had just become a father. So I had a 5-month-old son, I think, at the time. And my wife and I made the decision that she wasn't going to go back to work. I was the sole source of income in our house, and then started to just look around at the market, and the market was shifting quite a bit. So I was like, okay, I think I should probably start thinking about trying to get into big tech or a place where I could feel like I could grow and make a bit more money.
Cool. You have this motivation of next role, big tech, make more money, grow faster in your career. I'm curious that as you looked at Intentional Job Search, what were the biggest hesitations or concerns you had in your mind before you decided to go for it?
So I had decided to try to get into a big public tech company, and I had actually been successful and gotten a few interviews. I got to the first round in 3 different companies and didn't get past the first round in any of them. And I remember one of them was actually, I reached out to the hiring manager at this really well-known company that was I was like, wow, I'm interviewing there. I just remember during the interview, I just watched his eyes just kind of okay, I want to end this interview right now. I had always been a really good interviewer, so you can just sense when it's not going well. And I just knew that I had just bombed it, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I am not doing something right. I'm not saying the right things that these people need to hear in order to realize that I'm a good candidate, because I was a really good fit for that role, but I wasn't conveying it in the right way. And that's when I was like, I need somebody who can guide me, who's been through this, who can take me through the steps to land one of these roles, because it's not the same as interviewing at a startup of 50 people, or it's a different level. I realized I was like, what got me here is not going to get me there. I need to figure out what the pieces are to structure these interviews in the right way and go about it in the right way.
Amazing. So now I know what got you to reach out. So then tell us what's next. You evaluated us.
Yeah, honestly, from the first coaching call I was like, yes, this is it. I remember I talked to Sarah. We were just talking about some of the success people had and the different salary bands that I could get to and what that would mean for my life and for my family and for my career. I get excited about things. So I was in, but I had to convince my wife. She was like, this is a big commitment. And we have a 6-month-old son. It's a lot, commitment in terms of time and money. And we have to make sure this is the real deal. And I was like, she's always the super ego behind my id that is just I want to go for it. And so she's like, let's just talk about this first. And so is this the right next step? Then we went to evaluate, and it was honestly the testimonials. I gave her the list of testimonials. She sat down for a half hour and watched a bunch of them. And she was like, this is awesome. You should do this. This is it. We were both in, we high-fived, and we were like, all right, let's do it.
Love it. Okay. So now we're walking through the journey. So now you're in the program. Yep. I'm curious, you tell us a bit about your first impressions.
The first thing that jumped out at me was the structure. It was so much more structured than anything I had done in the past. And that includes college courses I had done. I've done a lot of coaching in the past, but not like this. This was the step-by-step building on top of itself, how I was going to be the ideal candidate for these roles that I was going for. And it was very clear up front that this first step is going to build into the second step. Like I'm going to do my intention, and then we're going to talk about my stories, and then those stories are going to become my resume. And then it was really clear to me the path that was going to get me there. And I was really excited about that because I think it gave me the structure to build on top of itself. And it became very clear what I needed to do. And I love that. I love like, here's what you need to do. Just now it's up to you to do it. And then I also remember just as I watched the videos and I learned about product strategy and product design, and this wasn't just making me a better interviewer, it was going to make me a better product manager. And I think that was the thing I didn't realize throughout. This is actually going to help you with your job. Like this is going to help you be a better product manager, not just an interviewer, because thinking strategically, I was analyzing the market. I was like, all of these things that I wasn't really forced to do, but like a good product manager does them. Yeah. And so I realized that I needed to be able to do these things, and I needed to just do them on my own without someone pushing me to do it. And so that was something that I didn't expect, but I was really, really grateful for throughout the program.
I love when you say that, because I often hear, especially when somebody's like disillusioned about interviews, that, hey, interviewing is one thing, doing the job is completely different. They have nothing to do with each other. But actually, like, there's all these core skill sets around communication, thinking through product strategy, having a structure, being able to explain your thinking to others that you build up that make people a better product manager. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
If you're enjoying this content so far, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next video that we put out. Let's do a little bit of fast forward. Tell us more about some of your wins as you went through the program, something more about the process, just so that people can get a feel for it.
One other thing I really loved about the program is you're doing weekly practice interviews with the best in the business, like employees at Google, Amazon, Facebook. They know what they're talking about, and then they grade you. To me, it was a game, and it was like, I need to figure out how to win. And, I love games and puzzles. So this was like, okay, I just got to practice this thing. And so I remember I probably got a no hire on my first practice interview or something. And then a couple of weeks later, I got a hire. And then a couple of weeks after that, I got a strong hire in behavioral. And I was like, I'm winning the game. I got it. I can do it. And then I remember getting my first hire in product design. And that was a big win because I had never done a product design interview before this course. And it took me a while to get there. I could do the take-home assignments that you gave us. And I was doing those, and I was doing really well on those. But then I was struggling in the interview because like when you have a time box thing and you just have to do it on the spot, it's a lot different. I remember I got there, and that was also an awesome feeling. I feel like those are two big wins, just like being able to like just see the progress in yourself. And then that leads into when I started actually getting interviews. And then like, that's when it really gets exciting, because then it's like you're putting in all the practice, and then the regular season starts, and it's like, all right, here we go. Like now it's time to actually play the game.
I want to just like echo one of the points you mentioned. Like often people ask me, hey, how quickly can I land a job? Like how long is it going to take? Like for me, it's okay to take a little bit longer, because you are like literally building up skill sets and capabilities that if you ever need to do a product design question, Kyle, I'm sure you'll need some refresher, but you could like so quickly pick it back up and like be at a much better pace. It's like a capability you have for life. It's not going to like disappear.
That's one thing I think I wish I had told, if I was going to go back and do it again, and maybe someday I will do it again because I love this program. One thing I wish I had told myself was just like, pace yourself, slow down. Like it's not a race. And it is really about becoming the best possible candidate once it comes time to like actually start doing the interviews. Remember, like, okay, I can get it by this day, I can start interviewing by this day. And it's really like, you want to put in the time to practice and to get good at it. It's only a couple months. Like when you think about it in the grand scheme of your career, like just give yourself a few more months, like give it a little bit longer, and you'll get there. You will. It's just, you have to be patient and persistent.
So tell us about your big win. Like where did you end up? What are you doing now?
I'm a senior product manager at HP. I'm working on their new HPX app, which is unifying all of their apps across all of their lines of devices. And it's awesome. When we launch, we're going to launch to 80 million users. It's going to be a game changer for the company and for the brand and for my career. It's completely different than anything I've done in the past, and just couldn't be more excited about where I'm at.
It met all the criteria that you had laid out. It's clearly a huge step up, and like huge number of users going to be there. So I love the way you ended up.
Yeah, and it was a pay bump I was looking for too. So it solidified some stability for our family. And that was like my big motivator. And now we're there. So it's an exciting development. Couldn't have done it without this program.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. How did you end up landing this interview? You just tell us a bit about it, like how did you end up going through the process for that?
So I had a former colleague who works at HP who happened to be on the team that was hiring. We learned throughout the program that you have to explore all avenues when it comes to applying. What I found was the best was LinkedIn outreach. So reaching out to people that I know, but also reaching out to people I don't know. I got a few different interviews that way, reaching out to people that I never met before. And this one just happened to be someone that I worked with in the past. And that's how I got the initial interview. The process was fairly standard. I think it was like meet with a recruiter, do the hiring manager interview, and then it was like a few more like in-depth interviews. And there were aspects of strategy and product design within them, even if they're not. But there were scenarios laid out, and because of all the practice I had done, I was like beyond ready for them. I had been training for the Olympics, and this was like child's play. It felt like compared because I had been going through so many of these interviews that you hand me a scenario and I was just able to just pause for a sec and figure out what my approach was going to be and then explain it in details. And I was just confident. I wasn't nervous at all because I'd done a bunch of practice interviews with people who were judging me and then telling me what I was going to do and then and going through all the criteria. So once I actually got into the real interview, I didn't have any nerves at all. It was awesome.
That's amazing. Now reflecting back on intentional job search, like if you were to describe it in your own words for someone, like how would you describe it?
I would describe intentional job search as a built-in network and support system. In product management, so many of us are out here on our own because there's no formal training, there's no college diploma that I graduated with a bunch of people who did the same thing and now we're seeing where each other are at. Everyone has a different background. It's such an isolating career because you're like, it's you and then it's like you're with your engineers and designers and everyone. But this is a team of the people who have been there and the best in the business, and everyone is just centered around getting you to where you need to go. So you have everyone in your corner fighting for you and supporting you and doing everything they can to make you the best candidate and get you to that next step in your career.
And then for anyone evaluating, they're like, cool, like, should I do this? Should I not? Like, what would be your message to them?
I would say, do it. Pause for a second, but that's like, just do it. It's like, you're not going to regret it. It paid off exponentially and it will continue to pay off throughout my career. I would say if you're doubting it, take a step back and think about where do you want to be a year from now, 2 years from now, and what are you willing to put in to get there? Because what got me here wasn't going to get me there, and you have to take risks. Fortune favors the bold, and you do have to sometimes commit and say, I'm going to do this thing. And if you really want to, you got to put in the time and make the commitment, and glad that I did.
I love it. And I'll repeat what you said earlier, which is just go and watch the testimonials. Like there's so many people who like, just like Kyle, sharing their experiences, writing about it. That's the best way to build confidence and imagine for yourself where you could be.
And if you're watching this, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm a real person.
Not an AI bot. You're not a paid actor. Kyle, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. This is wonderful. I'm sure people who watch this will get a lot of value and really appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for creating this program and allowing me to be a part of it. I appreciate it.
If you want to be one of our next success stories, make sure you book a call with us. I've left a QR code for you to scan. Go to our apply page, book time with us, and chat about your career and your journey to your dream product management role.